This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we will call the meeting, the Bike and Pedestrian Committee to order at 3:31. Roll call, please, Susie.
Leroy Vogt.
Here.
Kyle Chigo is excused, as is Dale Schmitz. Jessica Atkinson.
Here.
Annette Abinger.
Here.
And Tracy Fluke.
Here. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. All right, need a motion on the agenda to approve the agenda as listed as shown.
All motion.
Motion by Jessica.
Second.
Second, Leroy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes from our last meeting, December 13th of 2021, sorry, 22. Any corrections on there? I do have a couple typos, Susie, minimal ones, but on number 9 and 9A, Allied Street ST is both capitals. I don't know if you normally do it that way.
I do.
Okay,
That's okay.
okay, then leave it. 10A, it says trial instead of trail, which is a common change. And then again in 10A, it's Grafe is listed and the A is capitalized. Did they change theirs to capitalized A in there?
That's how it always comes across.
They did.
That's how it's,
Really?
that's how they like you to
Oh,
spell it.
okay, sorry, so that's fine too. So, that was the only corrections that I have. Does anybody have anything else on the minutes? And I would welcome a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Leroy,
One second.
second by Jessica. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public, just look like we have any online. I'm not gonna read all those things unless I have to. I don't think I do. Anybody else have any? Well, you guys are good check. Yeah. So no comments from the public. Site plan review. Kyle is not here. Rex or Joel, do you guys have anything you would like to add for site plan review?
Don't believe there's been any major projects going through site plan. I don't think so. Since the last.
Okay, anybody have any questions on any of the site plans that we've talked about recently? Okay. Moving right along. 8A on our action items. Discussion and possible wait a minute. Finalization and approval of BMP, Bicycle and Pedestrian Comprehensive Plan additions. This is a result of our December meeting when we talked about the Bellin site specific. And Rex, I don't know if you want to just summarize or go through it.
I can just quickly through it. So, the bike and ped talked about what accommodations would be appropriate. As I was looking and cross comparing them to the actual current bike and ped plan, the updated plan, there were just some questions that I thought would be best answered by bringing it back to the committee one more time before we officially put them in and then show the village board, make sure they're okay with things, those additions. So number 10, I want to cover first is Allied Street. I think is the biggest one. So the plan already states that there's sidewalks recommended on both sides of Allied, from Wabi to Griffith. Griffith is this side street that the school district is on. So if you go down there and connect with the Allied, so it says in the plan that we should have sidewalks on both sides from that point all the way to Wabi.
It's going past the cement plant?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, and then the second, so that's in the plan already. So then the recommendation by the committee was to have on the east side of the street from Quick Trip to the bowling alley, basically Ashwaubenon Lane.
Okay.
So, and then the second part of that recommendation was to have it on the south side of Wabi, east side of the street on Allied, from the corner, the Bella corner, all the way down to Parkview. So my question was, and I'm just going to throw an idea out here, would it be better to eliminate the both sides of the street on Wabi from Griffiths to Wabi on Allied? Unless you still want to keep that, that's fine, but would it be better to eliminate that and just put in the plan that we'd like to see a sidewalk from Parkview to Ashwaubenon lanes on the east side of Allied? It cleans it up a lot more.
I think that's what we were thinking. We discussed it last time, because
Yeah.
we were saying we felt like that was where it was the most important part to have it.
Yeah.
And then if in the future, that we thought that people would be going past concrete all the way up to Griffith or Griffin, whatever it is, Griffith, that we could see at that point. But right now, like, the need was to go from Parkview, at least to the bowling alley, because we figured that's where it's going to be more heavily.
So then what I'm going to do.
But I had questioned it, and what happened was, I said, I thought we were just gonna stop at the bowling alley, and it was stated that it's already in the plans to go to Griffiths. Tracy, you had said that, so let's keep it. Yeah, so now we're gonna switch it, we're not gonna keep it.
But it's on both sides right now in here, right?
Right.
And we just really, as long as it's on one.
But we're gonna go all the way to Griffith on the side of the concrete.
Okay.
And this, according to this, and that according to plan, it's on both, on one side, on both sides to Griffiths.
So we're talking about kind of two different things, just to keep it in perspective, you guys. So when we talked about it at our last meeting, we specifically were looking at the Bellin site, what we wanted to include with the Bellin development. So that was kind of the whole thing about going from Parkview on Allied all the way up to the bowling alley, okay? Our plan itself right now says both sides of Griffiths, both sides of Allied, from Wabi up to Griffiths. So if we are talking about, and I would assume this is just the bike and pedestrian plan that we're talking about right now. So I would agree with Annette that we need to leave the whole thing there in, because
And add
someday in the,
in Wabi to Parkview on the east side.
yes, and I think it should be both sides of the south side of Wabi as well, because you have commercial development, and if we're gonna bring that sidewalk down from Ridge on the south side of Wabi,
We're going to
we
have,
should continue.
we're not talking about Wabi. We're not talking. We know,
No, I'm saying if
on
we,
Allied, do you want it on the west side of Allied then?
I think we should keep it on both sides of Allied, all the way from Parkview up to Griffiths, in the plan. Put it in the plan that way.
You want my opinion?
Mhm.
I don't think that we need that. I do not think we need that.
You have a lot of residential, like my neighborhood, residential development, a lot of people walk out of my development and they head down to Quick Trip, or they may jump on, try to get on the sidewalk going up towards Oneida Street. And actually Allied is very difficult to walk on because it turns in there. And there's a lot of traffic that goes through there. You got the college way in the back at the cul-de-sac at the end. And it's not very comfortable walking on Allied because of the way that road is designed. And a lot of people do come that way, especially go to Quick Trip from my residential neighborhood. So I think just for leaving it in the plan for future, and maybe 5 years down the line or 2 years down the line, I think we really need both sides of the road on Griffiths because of the type of road it is. And
No,
the
on
amount of
Allied,
traffic.
you're talking
I'm
on
sorry,
Allied.
I'm sorry, Allied. Because of the amount of traffic that moves through there, especially in and out of Quick Trip.
Okay, then here's my opinion then. If you want sidewalks on Allied all the way to Griffiths, I would not put it on the east side of Allied. I would put it only on the west side, because that's where you're talking to people that are coming from that area up on top, are coming, and they're not gonna cross Allied to go to the other side until they get down to Quick Trip.
But if they're
My
coming-
opinion.
If they're coming the other way and they're heading southbound towards Quick Trip, they're gonna wanna get on the sidewalk heading down towards Quick Trip.
There's the hotel there, I think that's why they
Well, the hotel is by the bowling alley.
Yeah, just south of going on.
But you don't want anything on the east side of,
I don't think so. I think if we, we're talking here is that I just feel that then I would just eliminate the one on the right, on the east side and just keep it on the west side.
We talked a little bit on the east side only because that was the closest hotel. and
Right.
it
Yes.
Allows people. to
Well,
get-
I'm talking from where the hotel is back, all the way to Griffiths.
Okay, So you're okay with the sidewalk from Wabi to the hotel?
Yeah.
Or to Ashwaubenon.
Yeah.
Bowling.
Or to the bowling alley or wherever, and then it stops.
I think I would be okay with that because quite frankly, it's probably dangerous with those trucks
That's
coming
what
in and
I
out of the concrete. And I just,
Well, it's not only the concrete, you got trucks from there on all the way down to
and
where
that's
the old
more
Fourth and Van
commercial,
Dyke.
but it's not commercial. So I would.
You know, one thing to remember with a sidewalk results in an 86% better safety for pedestrians. So you're talking about trucks coming out of there. If a pedestrian is on the sidewalk, they're much safer than walking on the road on Allied. 86% safer. And Leroy, your comment about Hanson, coming out of, those residents coming out of the subdivision are not gonna cross the street to go to Hanson to the sidewalk on. So we're gonna talk later about the south side of Hanson and putting a sidewalk on the south side of
Well, we've had,
Hanson.
that's been in the plan for.
No, I'm just saying, this is a similar type thing. So you have residents coming, you know, it's the same thing.
Okay,
To have them have to cross the
I
street.
do drive down Allied a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm gonna tell you, the honest to God truth is I have never seen a person walking on Allied Street. I'm not kidding you, never. Unless you were there, maybe.
Yeah, I said, I
You know.
see, there's quite a few people that walk there, but when I'm in my neighborhood that way.
Um, And I do get the quick trip a lot.
Yeah.
Just to buy bananas for a while. What do you say, Rex?
No, I laugh because that's what people say they go to Quick Trip for. You're not getting gas there. Everyone says they get their bananas there.
Bananas
And I'm not a
are
banana guy, so I don't know what the deal is with their bananas. But
My wife-
obviously, it's a good deal.
I like a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
So, no,
So, I mean,
that's
this-
why I was laughing. I just like, say with Quick Trip and banana.
Well, this, you know, this is just my opinion. You know, like I said, I'm just one person.
Yeah, and that's what we're all here for.
Are we adding this, the sidewalk on the west side of Allied from Griffiths to Wabi? Or do we have that in the plan?
It's in the plan
It's in the
now,
plan.
it's on the north side of Wabi and both
But what
sides.
Tracy is saying is we should also have it in the plan on both sides of Allied from Wabi to Parkview.
Well, I don't mind that because eventually Parkview, I think on the other side will be developed. I mean, the buildings, you know, going to be across the street. There will be people crossing the signs and going that way. I don't mind that so much. But the Allied Street one north of Wabi, I don't think anybody's going to walk beyond the concrete station personally. Tracy says yes. And so I don't.
My concern is just that with the trucks coming in, with the trucks coming in and out of there so often and knowing what's in the trucks and how much materials back and forth, I don't know how they would ever keep that sidewalk clean. You know what I mean? And then there's gonna be an issue constantly trying to have them clean the sidewalk.
So I feel like if the sidewalk's on the other side from that point, that makes more sense to me, to divert them to go to that side. Because if they're coming out of the residential area, they're gonna stay on that side till they get down and cross. And really, the other one, I think, again, people coming from Bellin and that going up, if they're going home that way, they can go right to that sidewalk and go up from it. But then if the other one at least goes that short amounts for those ones that are just going to the bowling alley, the hotel, you kind of still cover them with at least something. Because I do think you'll have a lot of people walking from the hotel back and forth to Bellin. So I think you're covering those people that aren't living in the area, but then I think with the one on the other side, you're getting your you're still getting your community, you're diverting them to a safer
I
route.
think that hotel's gonna be Dollar's gonna be a boon for that hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so it sounds like, interested in putting in a sidewalk on Allied from Parkview up on the east side, from Parkview up to the bowling alley. On the west side, Parkview up to Griffiths. Is that,
That's what I was hearing.
okay. So does someone want to make a motion in that regard on Parkview?
A motion that we go down to Parkview, you mean, or what?
From Parkview,
You mean from Wabi down to Parkview?
Well, from Parkview to Griffith
on the
on
west
the
on the
west
west side.
side, and from Parkview to the bowling alley on the east side.
Is that your motion?
That'll be my
Jessica?
Okay.
motion.
Jessica's motion.
Second.
Second, Leroy. Okay, motion and second. Does everybody understand what it is?
Yes, thank you.
So we're talking a sidewalk from Parkview up to Griffiths on the west side of Allied. A sidewalk from Parkview up to the bowling alley on the east side. And discussion, under discussion, we have first motion and second. Kyle?
instead of saying to the bowling alley, can we put a street address there?
I agree, yes, yes.
Because
the
it may
bowling
not
alley
always
go
be a
away.
bowling alley.
Yes, yes.
So we need to,
That's a real good point. We'll find out the address of the bowling alley and we'll
Yeah.
insert that.
Yeah, because things change. I was gonna
That's
recommend
a
that too.
good, that's a good.
Okay. So put the address in your motion to the address on.
Same thing with Parker John's on.
Yes, I
Yes.
was gonna catch that. I cut down too. Okay, so we have motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried on Allied. Then the other section, Rex, is,
I think there's already a sidewalk recommendation on the south side of Wabi Lane from Ridge to Highway 41.
Yep.
So I don't think we need to do anything. We just leave that as it is.
Yep.
You know, there's no need to add anything or change anything. And then number 8, Oneida Street, east side. Current plan, it's recommended from I-41 to Vance. For some reason, we just thought people would be needing to walk the Vance Honda. I can't remember because we're both part of that, and I'm trying to remember why we divided that up.
maybe because that's a halfway, I don't know.
I don't know. So then my question was, do we want to change the Vance Honda verbiage to Parker John's? And to Kyle's point, maybe it'd be better to put a street address in there.
2851
For what?
South Oneida, that's the address of Parker Johnson.
So that we're looking for a sidewalk from on the southeast side of Wabi / Oneida Street from I-41 to 2851, which is the current Parker John site.
How about if we make that a little more easier to follow, because the next one on number 9 is South Oneida Street from the east side of Vance Honda to Hanson. What if we just say east side of Oneida Street from the I-41 to Hanson Road? Combine them.
I guess my feeling on that is this may happen in part, in pieces. So if we say, here's the whole thing, and there's only changes on half the road, is there to be a tendency just to not to do part of it because we're not doing the whole thing? I think I would rather keep it 2 pieces.
I think that's why you did do that, yeah. Because we also wanted to prioritize it, that we wanted, if they were only gonna be able to do part, they'd do that part first. Because we thought of the risk over there.
Okay, so we'll keep them 2 separate. So 8 would say from east side of I-41 to the address that Kyle gave us. And then number 9 would be east side from that address to Hanson. 2 separate parcels or pieces.
Okay. Very clear.
Okay.
You got her now.
All right, so if someone, again, would want to make a motion in that regard to the east side Oneida Street section.
I move that we include in the plan sidewalks from I-41 to 2851 South Oneida Street
On the east side.
on
one
the east
extra.
side.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll do the other one, Cal. Number 9,
Well, do we need to make it, because all we're doing is changing the,
address,
yeah, we don't need a motion for that, do we?
or we just change it, the address and that.
We'll just change the address.
Okay, so that one will stay the same. We'll just change from Van Honda to the address of the business rather than.
I guess you maybe.
I
you
know,
should do a
no, we're
motion.
making it to Parker Johnson.
Yeah, 2851 to Hanson.
Okay, all right,
I'll just do a motion on that one.
okay.
I move that we change that item from 28, to read 2851 to Hanson Road
So on the east side sidewalk on Oneida Street.
on Oneida Street.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And you lost Susie.
Yeah.
None opposed?
I asked, I got a pretty good grasp on what they're saying. So if there's questions when you're doing.
I'm just confused as to what the motion really was. Was it to south side of Oneida from I-41
So on
to
number 8 in the plan, it's going to be from the south side, or it's going to be from Highway 41
Mhm.
to 2851
On
And
the
then
east
on-
side of Oneida.
on the east side of Oneida. And then on number 9, we're changing it.
Oh.
We're getting rid of Vance Honda, and we're changing it from 2851 to Hanson Road.
I got you. And there were 2 motions, each by Kyle,
Yeah, one for the number 8, one for. number
and you
9.
seconded both.
No, I did the first. and
Okay.
Jesse did the second.
So we need a second on the second one.
Jessica.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Sorry, I was concentrating evidently. Thank you.
Wait, can I ask a quick
And
question
then-
then?
Did we do a official vote on it or just?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
So
Joel looks confused over it. He's like,
Trying to stay in
what the heck's going on over there? Is on the map here, Rex, the red I assume is sidewalk that's already in, and then like yellowish color, orange is the proposed, okay. Okay, any other questions?
I've got an update on this,
Okay, sorry.
which we knew there would be challenges. So we had contacted prior to the holidays, the DOT on these accommodations. And we had a meeting with them last week. With the DOT regional planner, who's also the state bike and ped guy. Coordinator.
What's the name? Larry? That's not Larry.
Brian.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Helen.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, Matt Helen. DOT. He's with East Central now. Regional Planning Commission. I think.
Maybe it is Brian.
Anyway, it is with it, and then they also had one of their senior members from the Highway 41 super project team that built it. So we were talking, explaining to them what they wanted to do. And first off, they're all for it. But just to give the committee a heads up of what some of the challenges are now. Apparently back in the day, when they were planning this out, the village wanted to focus on the north side of Oneida Street / Lobby. And so you know that they made accommodations on that side and designed it for a sidewalk on that side. They did not design anything on the south side because they were told that we wouldn't ever be putting anything there back in the day. So on the slip lane and the islands that are there and things like that, apparently because of how the standards are now, those literally need to be wiped clean and totally rebuilt. Starting there, there's also that's where they buried a lot of their underground utilities.
I thought you said bury the people.
No, there's a lot of their underground utilities there, so there's going to be some, at least under Highway 41, that stretch, there's going to be some fairly large financial challenges because as that's what was told by the village to them, any changes, including to the 41 off ramps and the islands there and anything like that, that would cost would all need to be borne by the village. So they just wanted us to be aware of that, during this whole process, that they were
They're not
certainly in
opposed
favor
to it.
of it. They're not opposed to it, but there's things, they literally have to wipe that whole slate clean, dig everything out and redo the offering.
Do they have any funding available that they can help with that? Or is there any funding available?
Well,
Did you guys get that far?
we had just a little bit of an internal discussion afterwards on that. They did not offer anything. However, every once in a while, they got those multimodal grants and
Right.
whatnot. So we probably need to try and time that out with potential grant opportunities due to the cost probably not being able to be fully borne by the village to do that section. And neither here nor there, that's just some of the initial discussion that took place. The other portions of it, Allied, is ours, so, we would figure that out. The section of sidewalk along Wabi, that is county, as well as going up onto Oneida Street.
Oh, yeah.
That's county on the other side. So then we would need to work with Brown County on potentially putting that in and get their approval, which sometimes can be a challenge, not insurmountable, but they're more about traffic movement than Mr. Fonteca was more about traffic movement than accommodations.
Right, yeah.
So just to let you know, as we move forward on this, some things may not go as quickly as we'd like to see to keep up with the building of the building, just because of some of these, again, challenges. Still moving forward with them, we're going to put everything into the plan, but there's obviously some timing that would need to happen and grants that need to be applied for things to happen in all likelihood.
Any discussion back with Bellin at all in regard to the sidewalks and the gravel paths versus sidewalks, or them working cooperatively with us on the sidewalks? Have they been approached at all?
We haven't had any direct conversations with them. So we haven't had any meetings post their site plan review a few weeks back.
Because, well, they already went through site plan, right?
Right.
Okay.
And there's something that we can require under our code.
But my understanding is the sidewalks is not part of that, right? According to Aaron.
As far as we can't require it as
Right,
part of the code.
right.
So anything that we ask of them is voluntary on their behalf.
Right. Part of the motion was to reach out to Dawn at least and say, here's what it was in the bike ped plan as, something that should be placed on this property. And just see where they go. I mean, with their staff, Jessica's discussion at our last meeting, a lot of them already are walking to their current sites, and just because that's, the property set up and there's not parking there. So this may be similar, and to have access, good, safe access for them that's cleared in the winter months. Otherwise, they're walking out on Wabi trying to get over to their site, which is not safe.
Joel, do you know when stuff, or maybe it already has, work start on that site?
So as of right now, they just have a demo permit and a raise permit for the site. So basically just doing clearing operations. They had an auction, I believe it was last week, furniture, fixtures, and equipment in the hotel, the former microtel. Once that's closed out, then they'll do the raise permit for that building as well. So if you've been down there, you'll see the gas station has been, I think it's finally fully removed.
Yeah.
The Menard store has been completely emptied out and demolished, whatever, and restored. Now it's just a hotel at that point. They still have to get their final approval from the state on building plans.
Okay,
And my understanding that hasn't been.
so there's time to them as far as, forwarding our requests to them.
They still gotta pull the tanks in at the gas station, right? That's a job in itself right there.
And this project itself will be at least a 24-month build as well. So it's the sidewalk, if there is sidewalk that's going to be installed, and the final improvements to that site won't happen until the latter end of the
Right.
construction phase.
So 2 years, you said, to build. Okay. So there's time.
Yeah, they told us about 18 to 24-month process, and I tend to go on the 24-month because that's usually 18 is like your ideal, very aggressive schedule. 24 is probably more realistic from breaking ground for construction, not raising.
Not reason. Right. Any other updates on that, Rex? And thanks you guys for keeping us in the loop on that.
Yeah, well, just, it was a good conversation, like they said.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out to DOT.
Yeah, they said they're kind of in our thought that people will be walking north.
Yeah.
And they said they're not going to be crossing the street and walking on the sidewalk and then crossing back over. They will walk in the grass or curbside.
Yeah.
And I hate to think of that, maybe that's what needs to happen at first. If people realize.
That's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think probably the bigger hurdle is going to be county highway. Just from an approval standpoint, the DOT will approve it. You'll just probably have to pay for it. So there's that consideration. The county would probably be somewhat agreeable to the sidewalk as you head west to Ridge, because there's sufficient right of way there. Once you get past Ramada Way on Oneida Street, and you're kind of heading northeast, if you will, now right of way gets down to 5 feet or less. So in order to install the sidewalk, there would not be a terrace area unless you purchased additional right of way. So there's no terrace on the edge of on the road pavement. My experience working with county highway is that they would require some type of terrace area because they need snow storage. Otherwise, you're taking basically 3 lanes of highway and dumping snow onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's where the other challenge comes in, is that you'd be acquiring right of way from businesses along that stretch. Most of the parking lots go right up against the edge of the right of way. And so you'll be removing parking stalls as a result of the installation of the sidewalk. So once you get past Ramada Way, it gets really tight then at that point. Now, there's also an issue at the state level. We would need to have all of the property owners agreeable to sell us right of way in the event that we have to purchase right of way, because we cannot condemn right of way for pedestrian purposes. So
Apply for
They've
a
changed
grant,
that.
you have to have all the right of way in hand.
Can you just take out that 3rd lane? We don't need 3 lanes. Have the off ramp come off, bend the lane, go to 2 lanes. It would slow traffic down. It's a shorter crossing. I mean, there's all kinds of good things about getting rid of that 3rd lane.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the DOT did remind us that at the time when they were doing the planning for the super project, that it was really the village's decision.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put this in, and I know when Oneida Street was reconstructed, there was a lot of conversation
Yeah.
about 6 lanes versus 4 lanes and things of that nature. And so there's history there that ends up having some long-term challenges
Yes.
for if there's a change in desire, right?
Yeah.
You're really kind of at you got to do some heavy lifting to do some retrofitting, or wait till full reconstruct before you, but that could be long beyond our lifespan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so 50 years, probably. Be long gone by then. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like road reconstruction or construction, you really have to think about that stuff. And I know when the 6 lanes went in, I was like, really? I mean, I think Rosemary and I were the only 2 that were saying, what are you doing here? You know? And everyone else was like, oh, 6 lanes great. The Packers together accommodate them. It's like accommodating for Christmas, making every retail place put enough parking space for Christmas. It makes no sense, you know? So. but
Well,
that's
that
what
was
happened.
then and this is now. And
Exactly, yes, that was what was done, yeah, so. Yeah. All right, any other questions on that? Again, thank you guys for your work on that and checking into that, appreciate it.
Should give people more better news, uplifting news.
I didn't want to end on that note, but I just wanted to be realistic too,
No,
that this is going to be an easy endeavor. The entire scope may not be realized. You may have to kind of
piecemeal,
put it together in pieces. Everyone hates, I kind of refer to that as the sidewalk to nowhere, but you have to start with the sidewalk to somewhere
right,
first, and it just may not connect yet, but over time, your efforts, combined efforts over a period of time will eventually make that connection. And
correct.
that's okay.
It is okay, you know, and you're never gonna get it all at one time. I mean, it's just the reality of it, you gotta start somewhere. So, and if this can go, this is huge in itself, you know, so. Just gotta keep, if you don't get it, then you're never gonna get going on it.
yeah,
You know?
to me, being on this committee, I've learned there are opportunities that you have to be aware of. You have to be looking out and say, we don't need this now. We're gonna need this in 10 years, but if we don't do it now, we won't do it in 10 years.
Right. Yeah, because it won't be here, this piece,
Yeah, you know, that if you wait till you need it, you missed your chance.
yes, exactly.
So that's why when we got the site plans for the new Bellin building, I was pushing a lot for more sidewalks and expanded access. And then that's kind of when Tracy said, well, let's see if we can get TIF money or whatever and push for that now, because not that they're nice now, but really not essential now, but in 10 years, they'll be essential.
Yeah.
But if we don't do it now,
Yeah, exactly. Being proactive, I guess. Which is good. All right, anything else, any other discussion on that or any other info to yours, but that'll go to village board then at the end of the month, correct? Right. For update, and that'll just be for update to the bike ped plan, basically.
Correct.
Okay. All right. 10B, excuse me, 18, discussion and possible action on Hanson Road sidewalk. Leroy had asked us to be put on the agenda for this month. And, you know, Rex did some checking into it. It is in the plan. It's scheduled for 2024 out of TIF. Which TIF is that in? I was trying to place which TIF that would fit in.
And maybe, I don't know, and this may be wrong, maybe it's just a capital improvement. CIP plan.
Yeah, I think it's more in the CIP.
Yeah, because there's no TIF. I
Yeah,
don't think that
no,
goes.
it's a CIP.
Okay.
So that's wrong.
No, that's. Okay, Leroy, what, you had some questions on this and,
I see that they added on from the apartments down to the other apartment, from Raven Crest.
is there a
Up to-
sidewalk there?
No, well, no, what we currently have in the plan, I believe, is from Viking Drive to Oneida Street.
Right.
But
Okay.
my question is, you've got another apartment complex 100 yards
Yes.
down the road,
Yeah.
Raven Crest or whatever it is.
Yeah, Raven Crest. I
And
think that's it.
shouldn't we, I mean, why are we servicing Foxcroft and Creekside and not Raven Crest?
Yeah, it's fine.
You know, it would make sense to go down another
Yeah.
100 yards and catch all those folks as well.
Yeah.
Because they walk.
Yeah, they do. In fact, I had to stop because the bus was stopped there because they were letting off kids. I mean, there are younger people that do walk on it.
So my thing was on the plan whether we extend it down a little bit farther to capture that other house in town.
What about
Okay.
going all the way to where the residential starts on, I can't remember the name of this road coming off here.
where it
Helmut?
becomes Carroll Lane.
That's Helmut.
Helmut, yeah,
Helmut.
to end there, because then you had that whole residential area. I mean, they can go on the other side of the road, but again, we get the same.
Then we're talking about the same thing that we got right now. You know, I mean,
It's just, you know, it's.
they're not crossing over, you know, I mean. Okay, go ahead, Rex.
No, I'm technically an advisor. I give my opinion. I don't know if it's okay if I give my opinion on things, because it really needs to be to your guys.
Well, if we would extend, and I agree, we should extend those apartments, condos, whatever they are, with a crosswalk there to get across the street. I don't know if that's Springhurst or whatever it is that
Oh, yeah.
comes out across the street. So we need to, put up like a painted crosswalk or something, so, so that's for safety reasons, or show people where they want to cross, and then they can walk the sidewalk on the other side. And that would, I guess, service the conditions as they are, but there is that open field from those apartments up to, is it Helmuth?
Helmuth.
And do we know how that zone, what potential use that land is? Is that wetlands that's a problem, or?
Well, you're gonna have to go across the creek.
Mhm. Isn't that where the water, or excuse me, sanitary line is?
Yeah.
I think the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewer
Well,
System.
where are you talking about, Kyle?
Well, from those apartments, if you go further west on the map, there's, just a blank space there, just.
Yeah, that's all wetland.
Mhm.
That's all like floodplain.
So,
Not buildable.
okay, so I guess that's my point. If somewhere down the line that was gonna be buildable, we should put the sidewalk in now. But since it's not buildable, we don't need to put a sidewalk there. And if it's wetland, putting a sidewalk is a problem.
We have a sidewalk now, just to remind myself. It's on the north side, all the way up to the Helmuth, correct?
Correct.
Is there a sidewalk there? Okay. That's what I was thinking that was on, okay.
Because that's technically a route, I think that was put in because it's a route to school.
Okay.
To get
Oh, yes,
to the
or
high
it's
school.
Pioneer. Okay, so we currently have a sidewalk all the way from Helmuth that goes all the way down to Oneida Street on the north side of Hanson. And I agree, I think we should definitely pick up the residential multifamily, because they're there and then not put them,
I
not
agree.
accommodate them.
Does it have to have a motion for that?
If you're gonna add something in addition to the plan, yes.
Okay, then I make a motion that be put in there.
Extend it to Graydon.
So Raven Crest, I think it's called, huh? Is it called Raven?
I think so, make sure.
Yeah, Raven Crest.
Should we use an address?
Yeah.
We should
There
do
you have it.
And then,
Okay.
I think the other part of it was, I wasn't really, because I wasn't at the full meeting last time, but I did check, and right now, I mean, we plug in different projects during different years, but this was going to be looked at for the 24 budget I talked about, and that's what he said it was budgeted for. Not saying it's going to happen in that year, but that's what it's kind of, that's where the bookmark is for it.
So we should probably let's do a motion first about adding to the bicycle and pedestrian plan, the sidewalk extending it to Raven, the address at Raven Crest. So if someone would like to make that motion first.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, anyone second? I can second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Then, okay, so right now it's slated for 2024. What do you guys think about that? We've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, that's 2 years out.
2 years goes by pretty fast.
It does. But, I mean, this has been on the docket for a long time. Is there any way, anything you want to move that up or try to move that up? I mean, it's, you can ask. Do you think that's something that you would like to consider?
Well,
How important it is, thinking of the other stuff we kind of have.
yeah, I don't want to be in a position where we ask for everything right now all the time. If the village is planning on doing that in 2 years or discussing that in 2 years, if that's on their docket, let's just be team players and go along with that.
When are we talking about the sidewalk from, on Allied? When is that gonna be done?
The Allied probably would be in conjunction with, potentially with the Bellin building.
So then we're talking 2 years down the road?
Yeah.
It could be.
So that would be 24?
But we're talking about putting that sidewalk in because we really need it after that project is built.
I agree with you on that, but I think
What
we've been
number
talking about this
priority is the one
Hanson
on
Road
Hanson?
project for crying out loud, as long as I've ever been here.
It would
I mean,
make financial sense to do them all at once because everything's gonna be right there. And like, when you mobilize equipment and men to do projects, I mean, they're all men and women. Correct. It probably would, if they could put all of them in one bid packet together, it would save on costs to do everything all at once because they're all in the same area.
Now, are you saying Hanson included with that, or you're just saying all in the bond? Is what you're saying right now?
Whatever can be done in 2 years for around the Bellin area would be nice to parlay this in with that.
Okay.
Whenever one or the other is done, if we can do them together, it would save money, which is going to be a lot more palatable, I'm guessing, to our village board.
I mean, the other piece of that, just to muddy the waters too, is Ridge Road from Hanson down to Wabi on the east side of the road. That's another huge connection. And that one's been on the list for a long time too. And that's all in that one area. That's all interconnecting, all that stuff. But it's just another piece. But I agree, if they're in that area and they can pick up Hanson at the same time. And, so 2024, I mean, that's 2 years out, but it's.
And, and it may not be feasible to expect we can get that sooner when you figure the budgeting has to go in, the planning has to go in. Didn't somebody talk about, you have to talk to the county on some stuff and,
Yep.
It may not be feasible it may not be possible to get it done before 2024.
Right. And Hanson is that county, is it?
Well, it's like it crosses a county road, so.
Yeah.
I don't believe in and of itself that it's, except where it crosses Highway 41.
yeah, I was gonna say that bridges. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
But that's already set
It's
up.
done and set up with like
Set up
lanes
with
and
the sidewalks.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought somebody said some of Wabi was county.
Wabi
all-
is all county.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so is Oneida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're okay with 2024. We'll leave it in 2024 is what I'm hearing from everybody, because you're right, by the time it gets organized, it's, how we're gonna fund it. It's gonna be out there. Anyway. Leroy, what do you think?
Okay, I mean, I agree with Rick, she's got that, about, the construction coming, the company, all of the construction workers will be there at that time. I just hope that when that time comes, that all of a sudden, everything is gonna be turned over to, well, we got this here Bellin building, and we got it done right now. And then Hanson Road gets put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And I don't want that.
Well, and the potential with the Bellin site is to be all paid potentially out of TIF. So that's not the same funding source as Hanson, which is probably good. So you're not putting all that into capital improvements. So you may, be able to get Hanson out of a different fund versus what the Bellin site would get.
Because every time I do go up and down that road, I see there are people walking on it all the time, all.
Yeah.
And even like right now, there's no grass for them to walk on, they gotta walk out in the street.
Right.
Yes, there is a walking,
They'd rather walk on the street than on the other side of the side.
that's exactly true, and you have a point there, I know that.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah.
But we had talked about that, putting a crosswalk over from Vikings Road, whatever it is, to the other side, but no, they still won't use it.
No.
You'd be surprised at how many people going up and down my street, Ponderosa, for crying out loud, that don't use the sidewalk. It's, I don't know, can't figure people out.
Yeah. You're right. All right, so anything else on Hanson? I will leave it in 2024. Add that section, we added this section to the other residential multifamily. And then we'll just go on from there. Let's see, we have item 9, review and possible action on the 2018 plan projects.
Well, I have to add those other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything
Anything
else
else?
to talk about.
Looks like we got the yellow updates in there that were added to update some of the ones that are kind of more recent. Anything else to add on the plan, you guys, for the 218 that we wanted to look at, or any changes that you see on that?
On number 15, the pedestrian path on West Main Avenue. There was something in the minutes from last time saying that the main project, part of the main project had been done and would be paved next spring. Is that?
Well, Sand Acres Drive to South Ridge Road, the project itself is done and paving will take place in the spring.
Okay, so is that updated on this? Or don't we need to?
I don't. I think we'd update it when it's,
Okay.
when it's done.
Okay. So then on 2021, number 9, the Sherwood Forest Path is done. It's great.
Yeah. Yep, completed. Well, it's like completion expected at 4/2021, so yeah, that one is done. Great, you don't have anything else to do with that, yes?
That is done. The only thing that may still, well, we planted seeds, wildflower seeds in November. So other than stuff like that, but that doesn't need to be in the plan.
Yeah, that turned out really nice. Any other questions, anybody, anything on the list? Then we'll go on to 10A, department reports.
Don't really have a lot. I guess a couple things on the Ashwaubenon River Trail Bridge project. I know we talked about the stewardship grant through the DNR. Finally got official notice that it passed through the Joint Finance Committee, and we've officially got it now.
Oh, good. That's great. How much was that one again? I forgot.
362,000.
Nice. Good job.
So that was nice to hear that there weren't any objections on that one. Mary and Joel wrote a few letters to some elected officials, state officials, asking them to kind of shepherd that through if possible, and then things turned out well.
Nice.
And then we have a Zoom meeting tomorrow with Greg to talk about the landing of the bridge in Ashwaubenon Park and potential plaza area that we want overlooking the Fox.
And that'll be on the Ashwaubenon Park side.
I'll be on the Ashwaubenon Park side looking out towards the river and towards the 172 bridge type of thing. So seating area, viewing area, we're not sure what we want. We gave them different examples of waterfront viewing areas from other communities that we have been Googling. And then, so they're going to present us with a couple of concepts tomorrow. Not really trail related, but it kind of is because it's where the bridge comes off and the trail will be adjacent to it.
So you'll be fishing in that area too, or not part of that at all?
We're not planning for fishing directly off of the park, although people still could. There will be a fishing bump out on the bridge itself.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I want to say maybe 20 by 15, 20 by 10. It'll be between two of the spans widthwise, so it'll hopefully be a little, it's supposed to be in a spot where there's going to be fish. See what happens. That's our hope.
Where the bridge ends, in the park. Do we have a trail that's gonna be from there all the way back, back up to,
Where the bridge ends, it's going to, this phase will connect to the northern end of the lake parking lot. So you know where the long looping parking lot, where baseball parks a lot now. So where that porta potty is at the north point there, right by shelter number 1, the trail will come out into that parking lot. That way people, because that's going to be where the handicap parking is and technically somewhat of a trailhead right there. So that's phase 1. And then phase 2 will take that and loop it behind the lake and then towards New Water and actually behind the New Water, which is the sewage plant, into the Brown County Fairgrounds.
oh, so it's gonna go behind the sewage plant?
When you say behind, do you mean between the plant and the river?
Okay, so that's all in
And
the,
that Brown County would take over that portion of it.
they know that already, huh?
Met with them multiple times. They're actually wanting us to try and hurry up.
Yeah.
They're chopping at the bit to get that trail into the fairground.
And then you'll be able,
According to Matt Freese, who's the park director.
then you'd be able to, if Leroy were biking, he would be able to go through the fairgrounds and get out on Fort Howard Avenue or whatever.
He's probably, yeah, you'd be able to enter, you'd be able to get onto the trail by the Ashwaubenon Marina. And then you'd be able to exit the trail over by the Pier Ice Center up onto Broadway. Eventually.
That'll eventually be a really nice trail.
All they gotta do is just get rid of the goose poop.
No, you need mud guards on your bike.
Okay.
Rex, any other park and rec? Park and rec, I just want to bring this up on the park and rec. At last meeting, I had put on the agenda, yellowing the curbs on all across roads in the industrial park, the industrial park trail. It starts at Wabi and goes up to basically the West Main. Rex did talk to Doug about that, and they will be yellowing the curbs. I did look up state statute 346 does say it should be 15 feet from a crosswalk. So I know there's not exact crosswalks there, but it is a trailhead and it is an unlined 15 feet on both sides of the access point from the trail to the road should be yellowed. Oh, yeah. So those will go in, like Doug said, this summer, is that correct?
He anticipates the summer as part of the overall curb painting that they do on a yearly basis.
Okay, that would be great, because they.
Probably not on Wabi or Main itself because there's no parking on Wabi.
Right, yeah,
But
But
on
every other
on the
cross
interior
streets, yeah,
streets
yeah.
between those two.
yeah, so that'll be great, that would be a nice safety thing, because when you think about it, you have someone coming up to the end of that trail, if there's a car parked right there, you literally can't see around that car to be able to see traffic coming, or that driver, the car cannot see someone coming out of that trail. So for safety reasons, you want to keep people back. If you've ever been on Fox River Trail, you'll notice almost all the road crossings there have the parking back and away in the yellow curb, at least 15, 20 feet back from the trail, so people don't park right up at the trail. So just for, it's no different than a crosswalk. You know, remember the crosswalk we talked about on Sand Acres coming out of Highland Ridge?
Yeah.
Kyle was very astute and caught that because there was parking on the west side of that road, and Kyle's like, can't have parking there. So the village took the parking zone away from there. So it's moved back away from that crosswalk, so it's more visible for pedestrians as well as the motor vehicle drivers coming through. So that would be good out there. State DOT, nothing on that except you guys talking to them about the path. Public safety, I don't think Jeff is here today. No, did have something for Jeff, but not him. The school, do we have any luck getting a rep from the school? I know you talked to him over there. No?
I talked to Keith a couple times. He was going to reach out to one of the staff members, and quite honestly, the first year and follow back up with him, so I can do that.
Okay. I mean, it would be nice. We always had one, and it was kind of a nice connection because a lot of that stuff, you know, goes together. So, well, I know it. I'm sorry.
It was really good when we had Brad here.
Yeah, Brad was good on that.
He had a lot of good stuff.
He did. He enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
He liked it.
That's what you need, someone that is
That's a,
passionate
yeah, it's a
about it.
passion. Yeah, exactly. It's gotta be someone with a certain passion for it, but I don't know. I talked to Natalie from Wallow today, and she was not able to make the meeting, but I talked to her about, because the things that they have going right now in Wallow is they have the Frogger, which is a public safety type thing where they do a crosswalk sting, and they have the officers out and have a decoy go across, and then they'll, you know, if anyone does stop, they go and talk to them. So that's going on. They also have the Yield to Your Neighbor campaign, which is basically kind of the same thing. It's the whole idea that when you're out driving, you know, be aware of people walking and biking, and, you know, yield to them in the crosswalk, yield to them when they're biking. And then the other thing that they're doing right now is winter mission. And I think we talked about that a little bit. Basically, trying to get people out in the winter to walk and bike, you know, having incentives to get them out there in different seasons and keeping things open so they can move to the community during the winter months as well. I asked Natalie if she would be willing to come to one of our future meetings, because she had some things that she thought Ashwaubenon could get involved in. And they're doing some programming and activities that they would like to host in Ashwaubenon. And she said she would be happy to come to one of our meetings, maybe in March, April, somewhere around there, and kind of talk about those programs and how Ashwaubenon could get involved in them and what kind of programming we could tie in with them. I know Kyle comes to all the Wallow meetings as well, and I don't know if there's anything you want to add, but I just thought it'd be a good kind of an educational thing for us in ways that we can tie into it. And with our new social media person, they would get some stuff that they could just give out that Wellow's already doing, instead of, you know, trying to reinvent stuff. They can take their social media stuff and put it in.
And I, you know, she talked a couple times about, it's called Winter Mission. It's being run in other cities, and it's a way to get people out, and not only out active, but maybe out into some of the businesses, and, you know, so it's not just getting people out, it's a way of, you know, getting them out to businesses and doing that stuff. So it's kind of a, you know, involves more than just the people trying to get recreation in the winter. So it's just a little bit bigger thing for the community than just plowing a path so people have a place to walk their dog.
Exactly, yeah. So if you guys don't have any concern with that, she'd be willing to come and talk to us about that again sometime this spring, March, April or so, to kind of talk about those programs and how we could get involved in them. So, might as well not reinvent it. Go on and we can just tie into it, you know. So, any public comments on bicycling at all? Anybody has? I just want to remind you again of the notify the village thing on the village website. Jeremy had showed us that at one of our meetings. If you are out walking, if you are out driving, and you notice sidewalks not clear, crosswalks not available, whatever, or there's something that is a problem for a motorist, anything that's a problem, you can use that tab, and please do.
I did probably last spring or maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
There was a sidewalk grate, and it must have been in there for a long time because the holes in the grate ran parallel to the street, and there were a couple of just metal strips that were welded across them, and they had failed, so they're open. So the potential was for a narrow tire to go right in there, and I notified them, and within a week it was changed.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're really good about getting back to you.
Yeah,
and
they're
letting you
good.
know what the status is, and they take care of it. So please do that if you're out in Mino. And I'm out in my neck of the woods, I do send it in. They're probably like, there's Tracy again. But if you're out in different areas of the community that I'm not, so, just put it out there, they'll take care of it. And you don't want someone to get hurt on it, or you don't want someone, I was on Oneida Street this weekend walking, and there's a big section of Oneida Street. The sidewalk was totally covered with probably 2 feet of snow. So I was out walking on Oneida Street. And I literally had to jump up into the snowbank to get out of the way because the motor vehicle drivers don't pay attention. And if someone is in a wheelchair or someone didn't have the ability to really move like that, they could have got picked off easily. So we don't want to set somebody out by not keeping those facilities that we have clear. So please just let people know. They'll take care of it, and they're good about doing that once they're notified about it. So but use the tab. Any other public comment on biking and walking in the community? I did bring up Kyle's, your bike lane concerns with the snow piling and the bike lanes. I know on Cormier, they seem to store the snow on the bike lanes, but they hopefully will get rid of that. Because it is a travel lane, and when it's full of snow, we cannot use it. Now we're pushed out into the travel lane again, so. The next meeting is February 14th. And I did have a woman that I talked to that is interested in the committee. So she was going to try to attend the meeting today. So hopefully we'll get our committee full. But if you, again, know of anybody who doesn't want to do it or isn't interested, we still can use one more member. So keep that in mind too.
Since the Johnsons are not on the committee anymore, who's bringing in Valentine's Day cookies? Right. Julie would have had a whole plate of them. for her.
Yeah, you always had cookies.
For the next meeting, does anybody have any agenda items for the next meeting that you would like to put on there? The only thing I can think of, and I talked to Joel about this a little bit, but maybe discussing the sidewalk accommodations around the Bay Park Square Mall area with Hy-Vee going in on the far north side. And I know that it's a private parking lot, and I've talked to Joel about some concerns of going in there, but for us to look at it from a bicycle and pedestrian standpoint and see what's good about it, what's bad about it. Some of it is public areas, some of it will not be. But I don't know, I just think it's important with more and more development going in there that maybe it's something that we should take a look at and see. I mean, we have sidewalks right now on that whole development of Bay Park, all the way around the whole thing, except for the north side on Willard. We have one on the other side of Willard, on the north side of Willard, but we do not have it on the south side. So every section around that mall has a sidewalk interior so that someone there, but that's the only piece that is not there right now. So is it needed? Or, should we look at that? And even access into Bay Park Square Mall they have a really nice bus stop in the area. How are people getting from the bus stop into the mall? Just to get an idea and, see, especially with Hy-Vee coming in, and there may be some more development coming in that area. That's one thing I was thinking we could look at. And then the other thing, maybe we talked about applying for bike friendly through the League of American Bicyclists. I was going to look out at their site and see if they've got their new application out or anything. So if they do have that, I may bring that to the next meeting as well, just for us to review it and see where we're at on that. That is something we want to go forth with.
When is the chicken shack gonna open up?
Well, they say end of February, but I have a feeling that it'll be a little bit later than that. So as of right now, the last week in February is the
Okay. I haven't really been down there. I've been passed back and forth on there. But, I was just thinking about the traffic patterns, It's gonna be a piece.
As of right now, there's still a lot of discussion that has to happen. It looks like vehicular access into the mall property from Oneida Street could be limited during a certain period of time to avoid some backing of traffic on Oneida. And most traffic for Chick-fil-A is going to be rerouted from the backside of the mall area around the old Yonkers store, Steinhoffels, or around the north side of the building where Hy-Vee will be located, to try to get people on the interior part of the mall and avoid some of the backing of traffic and queuing along the streets. So expect there'll be some type of traffic control signage and directions, and there will be expectations for Chick-fil-A to provide plenty of marketing to educate its motorists and customers how to get access to the store.
Okay.
Nothing's final yet, but hopefully soon we'll have it finalized and Chick-fil-A can start advertising that. Because it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other agenda or proposed agenda item for next month, you guys? Alright. If not, then I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn? Second.
Second, Leroy, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody. It's one of our shortest